Greetings, Indie Warriors. Welcome to Outside of the Echo Chamber. Ole Gamer Joe here, joined with Scrambled, Ashton, and BarelyMagicMike, episode 33. We are all about giving a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming, spotlighting indie, AA, and niche developers, publishers, you name it. If it's indie, it's here. We have professional reviews, curated lists, deep dives into hidden gems, occasional retro throwbacks, and so much more. Right now, we do have a stretch goal going on over at Patreon, patreon.com/idreamofindiegames. If we can hit that magic number of $400, we're going to do a video version of this very podcast, inching closer by the day. But however you end up supporting us, thank you so much for doing so, whether it's just listening. This podcast is live in public feeds every single Thursday for you to enjoy at absolutely $0. Today's topics. More recommendations for you as we look into the indie crystal ball once again. What we've been playing recently, the good, the bad, and the potentially ugly there. A new licensed game was announced that could be exciting for some of you out there. And our topic of the day, are indie and AA games starting to overtake the market? But first, it's Icebreaker time. I want to know from both of you. This is a question I think about often, and I always have a different answer, it seems like, but depending on the day. What is your favorite and least favorite part about creating content? Go ahead, BarelyMagicMike.
I'm going to say, I do have a lot of favorite parts. I love doing it. I love discovering getting a review code for a game I've never heard of and just trying it out and discovering it's awesome. And I love working with you guys and having a community of people that I can just kind of talk about indie games with and nerd out about it, and it's not something I can do with my husband and most of my in real life friends, so that's pretty cool. And least favorite, I've definitely told you this before, Joe. My least favorite part is not even playing bad games for review, because that kind of has its own appeal, writing a bad review sometimes. It's playing boring games, playing games that just bore the hell out of me and I just can't wait to stop, but I have to keep going. Games that I've reviewed like Goblin Stone or Days of Doom, or to some degree Abyssus, I thought was really boring. Those can just be such a slog.
Well, it's a sort of the same thing for both, really. I really like the community that you build and the audience and people who enjoy your content, and I love seeing like people who are uplifted, or oh my god, the cat just jumped on me and scared me, or like the people who really enjoy it. But then I also really dislike the people who are annoying.
I feel you on that.
In the YouTube comments or online in general, and also just like people who are weird about me being a woman. That's always fun. And probably my least favorite part is when the weirdos arrive. But I like the nice people, so that outweighs the weirdos tenfold.
Nice people are nice, huh? We like nice.
Exactly. We like nice. We like nice indeed.
I should ask you, Ashton, what are kind of your strategies for, it takes time to get used to, having comments made about you. How did you kind of get around that? How did you get used to it? Because you've been doing this a long time, kind of like me.
Well, in terms of people who don't agree with me, that sort of never really bothered me, because I don't care what they have to say. Like, if they're going to be rude about it, I just think that they're ignorant. So I don't even take it on board. The creepy ones are a bit more difficult to deal with, because creeps will be creeps and have been creeps for the last few years of me being on the internet. So I'm less bothered by people who make comments and more bothered by people who take action on those comments. The people who just disagree with me or call me names don't bother me as much, because if you've not got a productive conversation that you want to have, if you're just going to be rude, then I have no interest in engaging or dealing with them, because they're just stupid.
Well, that's pretty terrible. I'm sorry you had to go through something like that. Obviously, people can be pretty hurtful and maybe not even realize that another person is on the other side of the screen actually reading some of the filth that they write sometimes. It did take me a while to get used to some of the personal attacks. I'm not really sure why it has to become personal in the first place. We're just talking about games. We're giving our opinion on games. We're just trying to be honest with people and direct them and do a good thing, and then it becomes personal for some reason. So I don't like that part of it either, but even less so, I don't like the business aspect of things so much, the whole playing the analytical game. In fact, it's gotten to the point where I stopped paying attention, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to make content that I really enjoy making, and I'm going to focus more on that than the numbers. And as long as people are watching, I consider that a win. So the business side of things isn't always fun. There are realities to running a channel. You know, you obviously have to hit certain goals in order to continue to exist, but I've been doing a better job of putting that on the back burner and more just focusing on making awesome videos. I'm really proud of every video I make. That's kind of a goal whenever I'm editing something, and if it doesn't perform as well as I was hoping, well, then it's just on to the next one, and somebody still ultimately enjoyed that video. So business, not always fun, but I really enjoy the friendship side of things. Definitely getting to know you all better is probably my favorite thing about this whole situation. You know, sometimes you feel a little alone on an island in life, and it's good to have people out there that are kind of into the same things as you, and they respect you, and they're fun to talk to, and we joke around a lot in our staff, and I like that side of it, but I also really like helping people quite a bit. That's one of the most fulfilling things that I get to do on this channel, is I get to help a lot of indie developers. Unfortunately, sometimes I have to tell the harsh truth about their games, but I still like to think that ultimately does help them. I don't know if you agree with that, Mike, or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not very helpful to get like fake positive feedback instead of just real feedback. I think that, you know, even if it doesn't feel great to have a game be poorly reviewed, you know, it gives you some lessons to take forward. And usually, I think most of the time that we've reviewed a game poorly, it kind of translates the same way to the Steam reviews. So it's not like we tend to be outliers very often either.
Yeah, I would agree. And a lot of people, you know, they have a financial investment in these things, so they're a little more passionate about defending it, I've noticed throughout the years too. Whereas, you know, when you get a review code, you don't have any emotional attachment to the game outside of it's just something you got to break down and review. You're not thinking about the money aspect that went into it at all. So I think there is a little bit of a disconnect between the audience and the creators sometimes there. But yeah, content creation is very difficult. I would say it's probably one of the hardest jobs I've ever had, and I grew up on a farm doing physical labor, so that says something. But yeah, interesting topic. I'm sure we'll talk about it more throughout these podcasts. But for now, let's get into what we've been playing this week. Now, oddly, a lot of work, but I did not play a single game this week, so I'm going to have to hand this one off to you. Who would like to go first? Mike, I'll volunteer you, I guess.
All right, sure. I have played, you know what, I've been mostly playing two kind of newer indie games that I decided to pick up, and I think both are so great, and I can't wait to play more of them. The first one is Tall Trails, which has gotten some attention on Steam. I think a lot of people are going to skip over it just because it's a very simple looking game. I mean, it was made by a solo developer, but it kind of reminds me, well, it's sort of a 3D platformer with climbing mechanics like in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, where you have like a stamina meter as you climb mountains and you sort of build it up, and then you can climb higher, go further, etc. So what I really like about the game is that not only are there these kind of mini open worlds that you traverse and try to find these bits of clay that you feed to this golem. Everybody in the game is a golem, and they're all very silly and very weird. The dialogue is great, like consistently great. You have this boot on your back, and your primary means of kind of locomotion, other than just walking around and jumping, is putting any items you can find into your boot and then just launching them out. And at first it's just like rocks that you launch out, and then it kind of gives you a boost upward. But then there are these little flower petal like things that act as propellers, so you kind of can hover with them, or you can pick up a like these hands that sort of give you like a Spider-Man web slingy kind of ability. Like different items you pick up have different effects in the game world, and there are so many of these. I feel like a lot of love was put into that game, and I really hope that people give it a try, because right now at launch it launched at only $10 but has a launch discount, so it's $7.50. It's so worth it. Really great game. And the other one I played is actually a Metroidvania, which is not usually my jam, but this is a very short Metroidvania by the creator of Electhead, which is a game I've really enjoyed. I thought it was one of the most clever puzzle games I ever played. And this one is called, oh boy, it's I don't know. I don't know how
Are you sick over there? Is everything okay?
Yeah, right. It's the O, where the first O has, like, I actually looked this up. It has an umlaut over it.
Oh.
Yeah.
You realize it sounds like someone just gave you a Mortal Kombat fatality, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it pretty did.
But the reason it is called that is because when you put the umlaut over the first O and then have two little O's after it, it looks like a caterpillar, and you play as a caterpillar whose tail is made of bombs. And so you have to, there's no jump button. You just have to use these bombs to, like, propel yourself in certain directions and destroy blocks and things like that. But I think what is so cool about this game, and why I think so many people, especially Metroidvania and puzzle game fans, should play it, is that despite being a Metroidvania, you don't get any new abilities. At least as far as I've gotten so far, you don't get a single new ability. The entire progression is you understanding how the core mechanics work better. It's the game slowly teaching you the core mechanics better, and then forcing you to go back to old areas and be like, hey, remember this setup? This is what you do here. And it has so many, like, aha, light bulb over the head moments that are just so great, especially for a game that's, like, supposedly 2 to 3 hours long or so. I'm probably maybe halfway through it or so. Cannot wait to play more of it. Really, really cool, small little Metroidvania.
Sounds pretty cool. You reminded me a little bit when you were talking about that of, that Wiggler enemy? I think it's in, like, Super Mario World, a couple of the other Mario games.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like that.
Not quite, maybe a little bit, but not quite, because you have this tail that you're just exploding. It's almost more like the caterpillar-y enemies in Astrobot, if you ever played that, where you kind of, like, break off the tail pieces one by one and whatnot, except here they are bombs.
Pretty cool. I know a lot of people in the Discord, too, have been talking about Tall Trail. I'm surprised that game has seemed to have caught on, at least with a small audience so far, so good to hear. It sounds like both those games are pretty damn rad. I'm going to add them both to my wish list as we speak right now. Ashton, how about you?
I played a few things this week. So I played more Donkey Kong Bonanza. I had some long train journeys this weekend, and I basically just spent the entire train journeys playing the game and mopping up all of the bananas that I hadn't got, and then spent the last few evenings playing it as well. And it's good. It's definitely the same thing as last week in that it's quite easy. Like, every boss fight, you just sort of punch your way through. The things that are most difficult about it are the sort of platforming elements that I absolutely suck at, just falling off the levels all the time. But I am still having a good time with that one. It's a very sort of head empty, low thinking kind of game.
Turn your brain off kind of deal?
Yeah, turn your brain off and just punch things is very much the theme of Donkey Kong Bonanza. But it's good. I'm still enjoying myself. But aside from that, lesser known indie game Donkey Kong Bonanza, you may not have heard of it. The other things I've been playing is This Seat Taken? Oh boy, what a good game.
You got around to that. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good. I played some of it on stream as for Indie Wednesday last week, and then I also have been playing it in my spare time. What a game, man. It's so good. The demo was great, and then the rest of the game is just the same, but more fun. It's really cool, and I think it's really clever, and it scratches my brain in just like the right way with the puzzles that makes me feel so smart when I finally solve them, but does still have some challenge involved. So I feel sometimes I'm absolutely slamming my head against a wall, but I'm getting there eventually, which feels good.
Is it completely a puzzle game, or are there other aspects to it?
It's pretty much solely a puzzle game.
Just puzzles? Okay.
Yeah, but it's like not puzzles in the sense that they're really hard to solve. It's just a matter of reading what's in front of you. Sometimes there's a bunch of stinky people, and the stinky people are the most annoying because some people don't want to sit next to the stinky people. So you have to really figure out where they're going to go. But it's a really good game. I think they did a really good job with it, and I'm excited. I haven't quite finished it yet, so I'm excited to wrap it up. I think it's like maybe a 4 or 5 hour long game, so it's not super intensive on your diaries, but it is, I would say, well worth setting some time aside to play it.
I'm probably about halfway through it or so too, and it's been a really good time. A comment that I'll make for people who care about this, because I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but sometimes I just like playing the Steam Deck in bed, like before bed. And when I do that, I really like games that use the touch screen well, and I don't have to like use any controls, and I can just use the touch screen. And Is This Seat Taken is one of those games that works very well with just the Steam Deck touch screen, which is great. I love that.
Yeah, my fiance has been playing it. He played the demo a little while ago, and he was like, it just popped up in my Steam library because we'd got it. And I was like, oh yeah, you should check it out. And he's been having a great time playing it with the Steam Deck as well. So it's definitely a good in-bed game. I honestly think they should bring it to iOS and Android, because I think that it would make a great mobile game as well, to just sell one off. But I don't know if that's a feasible thing for them to do. But I definitely think if they can, they should. And then the last thing I've been playing is Discounty. So I played the demo for this a little while ago, and then the dev on stream, and the dev reached out and sent me a code to stream. The embargo is literally tomorrow at time of recording, so it's all good now. But I think that game's great. I need to play more of it, because I feel like I need to knuckle down and spend some time in it, because it takes a little while to get going once you get past the preamble of how to play and the very like basic elements of it. If you don't know what it is, it's a little pixel art sort of. It's not Stardew Valley, but I guess you could compare it to, you're running a shop and there's a town and people in the town, and you have to make sure that your shop is stocked with produce, and you have to make sure that you're tallying up everyone's amounts correctly. There's certain missions that will unlock to get you more produce. There's also some kind of underlying mystery going on in the town. So it's a good little game. I think that that's the kind of game you'd spend a bit more time on. Part of me wishes it had co-op, but that's just because this is a kind of game where you could definitely spend some time with your partner or a friend just running the shop, someone stocking the shelves, and you're done the cash register, that kind of thing. But it is a really good little game, and I think Discounty is well worth checking out when it releases.
Supermarket management and life simulation game, they describe it.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this one. Huh. 21st, they're saying.
Yes, no, it's good. It's a good little game. I definitely would recommend checking it out if you're a fan of a life sim.
I'm going to throw you both I'll throw you a little bit of a curveball here now. We've talked about the games you're currently playing. Are there any coming up in the next month or two that you're both really excited about, you can't wait to get your hands on?
Yeah, I think there are a few. I'm actually bringing up my wish list now. I am kind of cautiously excited about Hell Is Us, kind of a AA game. I was really excited, and then I played the demo, and it took me from really excited to kind of cautiously excited, because it seemed like it might be a very difficult game, and it's a game that they've advertised as it will not hold your hand at all. There's no guidance whatsoever. You just have to pay attention to the world. And I'm like, okay, I sort of get the appeal behind that, but sometimes I just want a quest marker.
Right there.
Yeah, sometimes I just want a freaking quest marker. But yeah, I would say that one I am definitely looking forward to. And on the 28th, we have The Nightling coming out, a 3D platformer that looks pretty cool. And I have to say, I'm pretty interested also to see how Sword of the Sea turns out on Tuesday, actually, Tuesday the 19th. Been following that one for a while, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. I saw somebody playing it at Summer Game Fest, and I was like, I can't wait to get my hands on this.
Pretty cool. I'm looking forward to playing. This one's out there a ways. It's not till 2026, but it's on my mind right now because I just did a story about how the first game apparently hit 1 million players, which surprised me a bit. But did you all play the original Planet of Lana by any chance?
Yes, I loved Planet of Lana. I'm also very excited for the second one.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I'm super, super excited about the sequel because it's a sequel that I never thought was going to happen. But the first game really pulled at my heartstrings, and I love a good cinematic platformer. So that's one I've kind of been looking forward to. I'm glad they've had some success with that game. So how about you, Ashton? Any upcoming releases?
Well, one of them isn't an indie, so you can't get mad at me, okay?
No, I'm not mad at you. Not at all.
I really am quite excited for Borderlands. No, Mike, please, I said you can't. I am a big Borderlands head and a massive Borderlands apologist, so I'm quite excited for Borderlands 4 to come out next month. It's not very far away now. And
Is that soon, really? Wow.
Yeah, 12th of September. I'm absolutely chomping at the bit to play that game. I haven't watched any of the trailers, really, but I'm just excited to give it a go because I love Borderlands, no matter what. I'm also excited I'm a big Jackbox fan, and that's supposed to be coming out
me
quarter
too.
4 2025.
Jackbox 11, right?
Jackbox 11.
Yeah, me too.
I buy them annually.
Jackbox game. Oh yeah, we have every single one, and we bring them to every party on the Steam Deck now. It's great. It's a really easy way to just bring it around. It's good fun. Little Nightmares 3 is out in October as well.
Looking forward to that, yes.
Yeah, that should be good fun. And then a lot of the other ones sort of haven't got release dates, so I'm almost not quite excited about them yet because I'm I don't know if it's going to come out this year. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Mixtape is one that I'm quite excited about.
I am so excited. I played the demo at Summer Game Fest. It was my favorite game I played at the show. Oh man, that was it good? So good.
What is that art style? Like stop motion. It looks incredible.
I know. Yeah. It looks really good. I'm
plays
excited
incredible
for
too. Trust me. It is going to be one to look out for.
That was my concern. So how's it going to play with that art style? I was very curious how that's going to come together.
Yeah. I played a half-hour demo and it felt like it was over after 10 minutes and I was like, "What? No, I want to play more."
There's loads of games, but I don't let myself get excited about them until I know when they're coming out, because otherwise I'll just be waiting for too long. And
that's totally fair. I'm very cautiously excited for Little Nightmares 3. I love Little Nightmares 1 and 2, but I have no faith in Supermassive Games.
That's right. They're doing this one.
Yeah. Tarsier is doing Reanimal, which looks great. I will buy that immediately,
awesome.
no question.
Oh yes, yeah.
But Little Nightmares 3, it looks pretty good, but Supermassive, they haven't released a game I've liked in a decade. They haven't done well for me.
I love a Supermassive game.
I loved Until Dawn, and then I didn't play anything after that. So is anything worth playing after that game?
I mean, they're all just goofy. They're all stupid. The Quarry is a good fun, but it's goofy as hell, and people just die all the time, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm a big fan of Dark Pictures. I think those are great. I'm trying to think of what the other one. I don't know. It wasn't Dark Pictures, but there was one that they did recently. Oh no, it was a Dark Pictures, The Devil in Me. That is sort of a horror hotel one, and it has one of my all-time favorite moments from a Dark Pictures ever, where a guy falls down a pit, a pit opens underneath him and he falls down it, but it just literally looks like the PNG freezes and he just slowly falls down the hole. It's so goofy looking that I think about it often. It's so silly. But they're all right. They're not great, but I just think they're great in their own way. There's something special, the Dark Pictures games.
I feel a slight obligation to try them just because Until Dawn was pretty much my favorite PS4 game. So, but Mike, what is it about them you don't like?
So I really liked Until Dawn. It still had an element of goofiness, but I thought it was serious enough to be scary at times, and I was really into the characters. I feel like the Dark Pictures games and The Quarry, I feel like they're too goofy to be scary at all for me. I want them to be scary, but The Quarry especially. Oh my god, The Quarry, I played it with friends and we were bored out of our minds because for 3 hours nothing happens. It's just build up and nothing whatsoever happens.
We call that a slow burn. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Come on.
Yeah,
but in a
you
group,
have to play
it's
them
not
with
great.
other people. I think you have to play them exclusively with other people, because if you play them by yourself, you just get bored. But if you're playing other people, I just think you can laugh at it. The Quarry is definitely not my favorite, because it is just a real slow burn at the beginning. It takes ages to get going, and then suddenly everything's happening and you make one choice to go left instead of right and your character just dies and you're like, cool, I wish something could have been done about that. I guess not. But I think you can't play them on your own. You have to play them with other people over a few drinks, because they're funny that way.
Neither of you tried that Until Dawn remake, did you?
No.
Yeah, that seemed like such an unnecessary thing to make. I have no idea why that exists.
Because Sony love doing that shit.
Yeah, they really do.
All right, just one news story I want to shout out this week. Snoopy is getting a new video game. I'm doing this because my daughter is obsessed with Peanuts and Snoopy. So Snoopy and the Great Mystery Club was announced for PC and consoles. Now, are either of you Peanuts fans?
No.
No, not at all. No Charlie Brown over there in the UK?
I never grew up watching it, but I have been to the Snoopy Cafe in Japan.
Really? It sounds so cute.
Yeah, mainly because I wanted to get a drink and also I needed to use their toilet. So
tell me you at least went to the Hello Kitty land while you were there.
No, I didn't go to Hello Kitty land. I was too busy going into every single gachapon shop to get a set of people of what they called Sanrio characters that I had started collecting at the beginning of our trip, and then I had to simply get the rest of them.
Well, they are making a Snoopy game, Snoopy and the Great Mystery Club. It's going to star Snoopy, of course. There's going to be a variety of puzzles to solve. You'll have the crew following you along as they solve these mysteries. It's going to be a bunch of mini games that I saw in the trailer. Mike, how about you? A Peanuts fan or any interest in this one?
I wouldn't necessarily say fan. I never minded Peanuts, but looking at the trailer now, it looks kind of good. It looks
cute,
charming.
right?
Like they did.
Really nailed the art.
They did a good job with the visual. Yeah, the art looks good. I mean, I'm not going to be pre-ordering it or anything, but it looks nice.
I often worry that games like these are like cash grabs, but when it looks like they've at least put some effort into it, I can't complain that much. Like this game, obviously, they've put some time and energy into it. When you do like Garfield Kart, for example, which, by the way, absolute trash
in the best possible
so
way.
Bad.
But yeah.
No, well, yeah, but also in the worst possible way. It's broken as. That's a cash grab. But something like this, like it's sweet and it's cute. It's not for us. It's for children.
Yeah.
But that's good. I'm glad that, there's games for kids that are child friendly and suitable and easy to be played that aren't just total trash. It's not just like Roblox. They've actually put some effort in,
Well, speak for
Looks
yourself.
better than
I'm
Elf on a
excited for
Shelf
Garfield
did.
Kart. Elf on a Shelf looks terrible, but
Garfield so
Kart
bad.
2 I am stoked for. I can't wait to play Garfield Kart 2.
I can't believe they're making a second one of those. It's crazy.
It became such a joke that somehow it succeeded to the point where they were able to make a sequel, which will probably be equally as bad, but
yeah, because
like
people
the
were
Morbius
buying
effect.
it as a joke.
Yeah.
They were buying it for
people
their
buy
friends
it.
as a joke.
All right, that was all for news. It's time to peer into the indie crystal ball. Of course, Mike created this segment, and it's all about recommending you out there via our community tab, Games of Interest. You tell us a game that you're playing recently, you want some more of that style of game, we got you covered. This one comes from Clarence Dass, who wants a creepy exploration game. Ashton, do you have a recommendation?
I do, but I have some questions for you, Clarence, because when you say an exploration game, what are we talking here? Because there's games where you explore, and then there's psychological horror, spooky thriller games where you also are exploring a place. I've gone for games where you haven't got to do any combat, because I feel like maybe that's the distinction. If you haven't got to do combat, then you can have a good, and explore. I think Soma is spooky as. If you want a creepy exploration game, Soma has you exploring an underwater base, and it is just horrible in the best way. It's suitably daunting and terrifying. And you're also underwater, which is equally terrible because the sea is scary. So Soma is pretty.
Oh my gosh, yes.
haunting.
I tried to play that game and I have a fear of being underwater, so it was like a completely traumatizing experience. I wasn't able to finish it.
I played the whole game on stream, and it was a few times I was like actively quaking in my boots. It was pretty terrible. But then the other games I've got are, similar vein, because the only thing scarier than being underwater is being in the vastness of sea on an oil rig. Still Wakes the Deep. What the hell? That game's also pretty creepy as, and it's had a DLC recently, but I haven't played the DLC yet, but apparently it's really good. So Still Wakes the Deep. Scottish people, if you like the Scottish accent, you'll have a great time playing that. It has some really beautiful moments, like perfectly sandwiched between just the most horrifying eldritch horror you've ever seen in your life. And even when those creepy guys aren't around, the sort of creaking and like sounds of an oil rig are just terrifying in their own way. So that's pretty creepy as well.
Fully agree.
But then things like Limbo is always a great shout for a creepy sort of eerie exploration game. Little Nightmares, again, it's a very different type of exploration, and I don't know whether you would call it that necessarily, but those games are also just super creepy, and you are exploring the weird world of Little Nightmares. Things like Inside as well are always pretty daunting. I know those are pretty standard when you think of creepy games, but they are the standard for a reason.
Next comment came from Jude Moore, 1248. Playing some pixelated point-and-click games recently, just finished Narco, and now playing The Drifter, which was awarded the Golden Genie Lamp of Approval here. Glad you're enjoying it as well. Really digging it. You want some point-and-click games? Well, I've got you covered, Jude Moore. One of my favorites in more recent times is Thimbleweed Park. This is, of course, from Ron Gilbert, who was co-creator on the original Maniac Mansion, one of the great classic point-and-clicks of all time. It has the same kind of visuals, the same humor, the same style. I think you'll really enjoy that game, but I'm thinking you probably already played that one, so I have a couple backups here just in case. Like Perfect Tides is another great point and click. It's more of a coming of age story if you're into that kind of thing. Teenage years, a little bit of teen drama going on in that one. And then there's Lucy Dreaming if you happen to enjoy British comedy, which is definitely plenty of that in Lucy Dreaming. So those are some choices for you. Have fun pointing and clicking. Now on to you, Mike. It's from Indie Greg in our Discord community. Gris and Tales of Iron are two of my all-time favorites. Aside from Neva and TOL2, what would be similar to play?
Yeah, so I would say those are some pretty unique games. In terms of Gris and Neva, if I'm looking at sort of hand-drawn, kind of artsy platformers that are like more about kind of the style and the story than having, you know, really intricate gameplay systems or anything like that. There are a few games that come to mind. One is Far Lone Sails and Far Changing Tides. Those are definitely they're pretty different, but they're both kind of these emotional journeys that you know play in a. They're both 2D platformers kind of, but they're these emotional journeys where you have the ship that kind of has its own personality in a way. It's like you're so reliant on it. You have to fix it up as you go. You have to solve all these puzzles to make sure you can progress with the ship and keep going to your destination, whatever that destination ultimately is. But they're really cool stories told without words. And I think it has something in common in that regard. And there was another game that I played a little bit of. I haven't played enough of it yet to say for sure how close it is. But Saviorless is another hand-drawn kind of 2D platformer that is really cool looking, really awesome style. And from what I played, I was really enjoying it. But it was one of those games that was just a victim of me having to drop it to pick up a review, and I just never went back, unfortunately. And I think it's only a few hours long, so I really should go back to that one. And you know what? We talked about this before, but if you haven't played Planet of Lana,
I was gonna
that
say.
also is kind of up your alley there as you know, kind of a cinematic platformer. So a few options there. As for Tales of Iron, I was a little bit stuck on this one. That it is a pretty unique game, really cool art style, this sort of like Souls-like-ish gameplay. Souls-likes are not generally my favorite, but at least Tales of Iron has difficulty options, which I really appreciate. But there is one game I played last year that at least the combat kind of reminds me a little bit of Tales of Iron, and it is a proper Souls-like, but one that the only Souls-like that I have ever fully completed, because I loved it so much, and that is Perennial Order. It's definitely got a different vibe, and I would say the combat is something kind of similar, and it's a boss rush game that has some very unique boss fights, extremely clever, really interesting world. Definitely not as cartoony as something like Tales of Iron, but at least sort of tangentially similar, I would say.
All right, great recommendations, everybody. Remember, keep those coming over in the community tab. We will continue to read them. The post is still live and active. If you want to add them, you can do so even right now. On to our topic of the day. So we've seen massive layoffs in the AAA gaming industry, and now it's estimated somewhere around 90% of new games in development are being classified as indie or AA. This is all attributed to rising development costs, lack of innovation, costs being pushed onto consumers. It's just all led to this very point. So I'm going to start with you, Ashton. Are we finally seeing the fall of AAA games? It's been predicted for a while that the bubble would eventually burst. Is this the time where indie and AA becomes the norm in the gaming scene?
Well, I think, to be honest, we've already sort of seeing that. I think when you look at how often AAA games are launching now, you're maybe thinking of potentially one a month, if that. And those aren't necessarily the most talked about games of the month most of the time as well. I don't think there's going to be a complete fall in AAA. I think we're still going to get the big, huge companies launching massive games that cost £60 to £70 or £80 or £100 as it continues to go up, or whatever the equivalent is in dollars or your local currency. But I think that we're already seeing a huge shift in what most people are spending their money on. I think that the console market is a harder question to sort of, or a harder wall to breach, in the sense that there is not as many indie games on console. They're not as easily accessible, and putting your game onto these consoles isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do. I think Xbox potentially make it the easiest with PC Game Pass, but I think we see most indies launching on PC and sort of Steam Deck and sometimes Switch. I think Switch is also great for indie games, but not every single indie will run on a Switch. So there's that issue as well. But I think we're definitely seeing indies and AAs make more of an impact, and have been for a very long time. And I think the reason as well is that people love new things, and I think we're seeing so many sequels and re-releases and relaunches and that sort of side of things in AAA, because there's this real fear amongst the big companies in trying something new and it not working because of how much they cost. So I think we're seeing some real innovation in the indie space, and I think that's why we're starting to see the indie and AA games become a lot more mainstream than they used to.
Yeah, something I've kind of thought about in relation to this topic is the fact that modern day indie and AA games are kind of what AAA games used to be back in like the early 2000s, or even,
I agree, right? The risk taking,
90s, or I mean, they had to do something kind of different to stand out. The gaming audience was pretty small. And now the gaming audience is huge, but it's super saturated. So you can't, as much as developers try, you can't keep making the next Balatro because they're not all going to catch on. Like Ashton was saying, the indie games are not afraid to take those kind of risks because they want to stand out. And to some degree, AA games do too, although some AA games are kind of not as risky as they probably should be to make the impact they want to. I think we've seen that this week with Echoes of the End. I think that was not a very popular release that didn't review so well. But I feel like it's the exception more than the rule. I think most of these games are up for kind of taking risks in a way that will catch the attention of the gaming audience. And AAA games, I mean, unless you're Sony and you're brave enough to release a Death Stranding or Death Stranding 2, games like that are really weird and strange and actually aren't afraid to do something different, whether different in that case is universally good or bad is in the eye of the beholder. A lot of the big companies that don't have a console tied to their name just aren't innovating at all. They're just kind of doing the same old thing, chasing trends, and like Ashton said, it's because they're so expensive, and I don't think they need to be so expensive. And I think that I'm hoping they kind of adjust course. I think with games, some of the most popular games this year being like, $50. Like you have Split Fiction and Expedition 33, some of those kind of AA titles. I'm hoping that more AAA developers follow course and maybe slim down their development times, realize not every game has to be 50 to 100 hours or whatever it is, and try to change course, especially Ubisoft. Get your shit together, Ubisoft.
I don't know about either of you, but like when I play a game, I'm not really thinking about how much it costs to make. I'm thinking about how much fun I'm having with it, and maybe that just is kind of a lost art in the AAA scene. They stopped focusing on making fun games with unique ideas, and they just kind of played it safe for so long, and now we're maybe seeing that finally bite them. It took many, many years. They've gotten away with it, obviously, for a long time, but what do you think, Ashton? Where does AAA go from here? What does that ultimately become? Does AAA kind of morph into this AA form now where they make cheaper games that are more risky, or do they kind of just continue on the same path?
There's obviously been discussion about a quadruple A games becoming
which was so stupid.
With the likes of so stupid with the likes of Death Stranding 2 and GTA 6 and whatnot. And I think that these games will continue to get bigger, and the scope may grow and change for what a AAA game is. But I don't necessarily know how much we're going to be pushing things technologically going forward. I think that the big strides have been made, and I'm not saying let's just stop now, we've reached the pinnacle of gaming, but I think there'll have to be a massive shift in something to make a real difference in what games can do. You already see things like, oh my god, look how photorealistic this game is, and I think that's fantastic, and I love a photorealistic game, but I also love a game that has a quirky art style and is something completely different. And I think that people are sort of craving a unique experience now, and that's why we're seeing people going to AA and indie games. I think that when you look at some of the most successful AA games, like I often think of Stray and how well that did and how much of an impact that as a game did as a AA. And I think about games that are AAA games that have come out this year. I was just looking through what's come out this year, and I just don't think any of the games that launched as a AAA have made a big impact this year.
I agree, yeah.
At all. I mean, maybe I've not thinking of everything, so maybe I've missed something that has made a big impact. But I think when you look at what Mafia: The Old Country came out this month, and I haven't really seen anyone talking about it.
No, crickets.
The most I guess
it's really
I've seen,
boring.
Yeah.
I've been playing it, but I think it's pretty boring. It takes forever to get going, and then it's a game that has a good story, nice visuals, but it's very stuck in the early 2000s gameplay wise. The shooting doesn't feel good, and it's very basic. The AI is stupid. There are these knife fights that are very repetitive. It's just, it's a new game
Mike,
that
tell
feels
us how
old.
you really feel. Yeah, and I think that I just think that we haven't seen any games make a huge splash. I think that our AAA, I mean, you look at AA games like Peak right now is huge online, and a lot of these games that are making an impact sort of socially are AA and indie games because there's something different and something new, and there's only so many clips of a photorealistic game set in a various locations that you can really see before they all sort of blend together. So I think that's why indie games are just doing so well now.
I think a lot of people will probably look at our channel and maybe see, they're anti-AAA. And actually, it's not true from where I'm standing anyways. I actually really want AAA games to succeed again. Part of the reason I created this channel was my frustration with the AAA games and the fact that I was enjoying the more niche titles and the indie games. They were giving me more of the experiences that I wanted to enjoy. It's just the same old story with AAA games over and over again. The same gameplay. It's the same game with a new skin for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with playing AAA games, but it's not even the amount of money. It's that they're just there's something there's just something wrong with them. Like they need some slimming down. Like even Sony's exclusives this generation, I don't, this is a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but like Horizon Forbidden West, the skill tree was too goddamn big. It was too big. There's too much. God of War, why does it have armor pieces and all this loot and stuff? Like,
and why is it like 50 hours on top of that?
Yeah, it's too long. It's too long. I'm sorry. Horizon Forbidden West was too long too. I got bored. And I loved the first game. I loved the first game so much. Game.
It's one of my favorite games ever. Take it back.
It's very pretty. It's very pretty.
I'll start crying. Okay.
Don't do that.
It's very pretty.
Don't do that.
Imagine I did. My God.
Let me get kind of your prediction though, Mike. Is it like, I don't know, are we going to see a complete reset for AAA games, do you think? Is this a correction, or is this just a fundamental change that's going to take place with how they're created?
Honestly, I'm going to take an optimistic perspective and say that AAA companies are noticing how much indies and AA are starting to eat their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I think, you know, I don't think executives are capable of learning anything, if I'm being real. But I'm hoping that there will be enough developers that are like, no, we really gotta chase some unique concepts and really get people to play our game because it's interesting and not just because it's shiny and big.
All right, folks. Well, you'll have to let us know in the comments below. Are we witnessing the fall of AAA games, or am I just being dramatic? Let me know. Indie AA takeover, baby. That's what's happening. No, I'm just kidding. Coming up next week on I Dream of Indie Games, the Dream Drop on Monday with all the latest indie game releases, probably a good 15 to 20 of them you can look forward to each and every week. It seems like pretty much through December at this point, where things slow down a little bit. Indie List Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to have you do a new short, Ashton. You get a week off from Zero Reviews. Your new episode of Zero Reviews is live right now. A lot of fun. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to edit it as well. I had a blast making it. Very fun.
You did a great job.
If you all haven't checked it out yet, definitely had me laughing. I haven't laughed that hard while editing, I think, ever. So it was fun.
What, the gameplay?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my God. What a pile of shit that was. I'm still mad about it. Like, I'm really annoyed.
Seriously, if y'all watch one video this week on our channel, check that one out. It was a lot of fun. Thursday, this podcast. 3 days early, though, if you're over at patreon.com/idreamofindiegames. You're enjoying it every Monday. Of course, Hidden Indie Gem Friday. And then reviews. But as we do before I go, I'm going to close this show out with a massive stinky sound. Here I go. Let me back up for this one. Oh, that was awful. I'm sorry. I missed my hand.
That's fine. I don't mind. I can't hear them anyway because Discord just mutes them out. So I just assume that they all sound terrible. They were the best.
They were very bad. I'm sorry.
When you say you missed your hand, what does that mean?
So I was trying to do a rat.
I think it means he slapped himself in the face, I think.